Good afternoon. I'm Mr. Simmons, your instructor for Math 200. I'm here today with a quick example of what should take place in your Lab 2 assignment. The assignment requires you to do the central tendencies for 7 of the NBA teams from your recently scrubbed data. So quickly, here's an example of this. Like I said, if you would go into the NBA data, I've already scrubbed the Atlanta Hawks data. My other data still needs some scrubbing, but I'm only going to do the example on the Atlanta Hawks height and weight. So quickly, hopefully you learned that your tendency measures are mean, uh, median, and the mode. We all know mean is sort of your mathematical average of the data. Median is the number that's in the middle, directly in the middle of the data that splits the data into two equivalent halves. And mode is the piece of data that occurs the most often. In this particular chapter, you're studying your central tendencies. For one, trying to figure out which central tendency is the best piece of data, represents the best piece of data for your data set. And also just trying to figure out when should you use a particular central tendency with what particular type of data set. All right, so quickly, and we know we can find these by hand by doing the mathematical average and simply for your mean and for your median, placing your data in order and finding the number in the direct center, and mode easily sitting there picking out the number that occurs the most often. Or if it's a qualitative piece of data, that particular item that occurs the most often. But in order to allow Google Sheets to kind of calculate your data for you, because that's what we want to always try to find the easiest means of performing these calculations. And two, I want to make sure that we can interpret data more than we are actually calculating and finding the different statistics. So interpretation of the data is a must for this class. So therefore, most often we're going to allow Google Sheets to do the calculations for us, and then we'll just interpret those results. But anyway, to find the mean, we go to the cell, and I've already typed in mean, median, and mode down here on my spreadsheet. So in the cell directly next to the mean, and it's in the column that represents Atlanta height. Hopefully by now we all know that in a spreadsheet like Google Sheets and Microsoft Excel, each cell has an address. So this is B25. It's the row in the column. So in order to do a calculation here, we're going to go to our function tab of Google Sheets, which is up here with this summation symbol. But in order to start a calculation, we must start in the cell and put an equal sign. That allows Google Sheets to go to the functions category. So I'm gonna click, and in order for me to find the mean, again, we should know that the mean is the mathematical average. So therefore, I'm gonna use average. And then at that point, we have to tell Google Sheets what cells we want it to calculate the average in. So I'm going to start at my first player, and I'm going to highlight all the cells that are in Atlanta height. So that is B8 colon through B20. If I was to simply type it in, that's B8 colon through B20. And once I have that, I hit enter and it gives me 78.15. Same thing for median. I'm gonna hit equals and then I'm gonna go to the summation. If you will scroll down to, there's a statistical section in here. And then once you get in the statistical section, you should be able to find the median. Okay, let's try that again. All right. There's median right there. So I'm gonna click on median. And again, it's asking me what sales do they want us to find the median of. And I'm gonna highlight those same cells, hit enter. Mode, same process, equals. Now a shortcut for Google Sheets is if you start typing mode, then that function will come up. I can click on that. It already had the cells that I needed in there because it kind of saw the pattern that I was already doing, and then click enter and I have the mode in there. All right, so there's your mean, median, and mode for Atlanta height. And I want to do the same thing for the Atlanta weight. So I'm gonna start off with average, type the word average. Again, it's gonna give me a shortcut because it sees what sales I wanna do. I click on that, average, the average weight is 214 pounds, 0.46. I wanna do the median, start typing the word median, and that function will come up, 210. Again, don't forget there's an equal sign that goes first. And then mode. All right, 210. So there's central tendency, mean, median, and mode for the Atlanta height and Atlanta weight. You have to do 7 NBA teams. Thank you. Any questions, please email me.